programs that Daylight Africa has embarked on, and they are all related to education. The first program we launched was STEMDUP Africa. STEMDUP Africa. STEMDUP stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Diversity, Unity, and Peace. Because we can develop all the scientific discoveries in the world, but if you don't have peace, then we have nothing. Just like what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. They have the latest technology, but because people are in conflict, people are dying, and people are escaping from Russia, they're escaping from Ukraine. We don't want the same thing to happen in Africa. We want to build the modern scientific discovery. At the same time, we maintain peace so that there's no ethnic war, no religious war, no political war. That's why it is STEMDUP Africa, and it is designed to be established and financed by the way, the same NGOs and businesses that are trying to save Africa. If you want to save Africa, you save the Africa's intelligence, education, so that what Europe has, what Asia has, Africa can also compete with it. And that's the first program. The second program we launched through Daylight Africa was Transatlantic Family Reunification, because the African descendant all over the world has all the necessary resources, the intelligence, the knowledge, the capacity, the legal know-how to build Africa the way Africa needs to be built, a paradise on earth. That's why we said, if you are an African descendant, by the way, African descent is a loose term because everybody in the world is African descendant, but we're really referring to the victims of transatlantic enslavement trade. Those who were traded as slaves, we want them to come back home, and when they get home, all their rights will be automatically restored, because they're not tourists, they're not foreigners, they're not coming here from outside. They are Africans who venture out forcefully and coming back. So that is the second project. Now the latest project, which is the most formidable project that Daylight Africa launched, we call it Intelligence Retention Zone. And we want these zones to be every place in Africa, every nation. What do you mean by intelligent retention zone? Brain drain has been one of the biggest casualties of Africa. We have the most intelligent people, medical, legal, technical, you name it, all over the world, benefiting other nations and not benefiting Africa, meaning that Africa is being robbed of its intelligence. Let's take Nigeria, for example. If you come to the West, the highest educated professionals are Nigerians. The highest qualified doctors are Nigerians. The highest qualified intelligent leaders are Nigerians. If you can get maybe 50% of these resources outside of the West and bring it back to Nigeria, Nigeria becomes perhaps the #1 nation where everything intellectual can be retrieved. But because we are robbing Africa of our intelligence, and by the way, Nigeria is only one of them. I can name almost all the other major contributions, to the Western development out of Africa. So these, intelligent retention zones will retain intelligence so that these kids who are migrating in tremendous risk to their lives, dying on their way, will no longer do that. If you are a university graduate, we will retain that intelligence here in Africa. How do we do it? There are multinational corporations outsourcing their work in China, in India, in everywhere else. We're telling them Africa is the most strategically located than any other continent. 8 hours, 7 hours from here to New York. If you give the same contract you're giving to the Asian and other countries, Africa will develop so that these kids, rather than taking risk to go to Europe, they will utilize their trained specialties right here in Africa, and they can build the services and the product that you use in the West. And by the way, they can do it while benefiting from the natural resources that the Europeans and others come and buy on a pennies to $1, go to Europe, find, turn it into finished consumable product and selling it globally for thousands of dollars. What they get for pennies, thousands of dollars. And guess what? Even Africans now consuming finished product that was originated on their homeland. So these intelligent retention zone will be perhaps the best program that will keep Africa from being robbed of intelligence, that will keep Africans from praying to go to another continent because the other continents provide them liberty, freedom, and economic opportunity and better education. These are things that we can easily do, re-engineering. And let me use a religious phrase, to convey my message. In Islam, God is telling us your condition, no matter what it is, will not change unless you change what's in yourself. Meaning that if we continue to do what our forefathers have done, we will get the same results. And when the Europeans continue to develop and advance and use technology, most of which, by the way, originates out of Africa, guess what? The Europeans will continue to advance, and our children will continue to want to go to Europe at any cost. So we want the whole world to rethink charity about Africa, to rethink investment about Africa, and to work with Daylight Africa, so that these retention zones will become an outsourcing centers for all products and services, so that you help Africa, you help your company, you help your economy, you help Africa's economy, and everybody will live righteous lifestyle. These young Africans will become the future leaders that the world needs. Otherwise, they will waste their time and resource and energy trying to escape Africa. And Africa is the future. Africa is the paradise. And that's why we ask all of you who are charitable to Africa, who are investors or planning to work with us, so that your investments and your charitable endeavors become more fruitful, more useful, and more beneficial to you, your company, and to the recipients.